Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and ITY TV interview. Today I'm joined by Rami Ykmour. He is an inspirational self-made millionaire who is best known as the founder of the Rashays restaurant franchise and also now manufacturing COVID-safe products. So thank you for your time and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Now, I saw your video, Rami, of the guest check and the guest guards in action, and I'll have that available in the article that this video is embedded in, so people can watch that and see the, as you're walking through the arch, and you can see the thermal system and hear the alarms going off and see the guards. And I was sort of reminded of how President President Vladimir Putin had the tunnel, the disinfection tunnel people were walking through and they were spraying them with all sorts of disinfectants, which of course you're not doing, but it sort of reminded me of him doing that last year. And then also the guest guards, I mean, they look like they're 2 meters tall. I've seen in Parliament House and in the federal parliaments have these tiny little things and the politicians are sort of standing over them. I'm thinking that's not protection, but you have some pretty amazing ones, which, really look like they're actually protecting you. So I was just, the question that I've got here is that it might seem obvious, but what was your inspiration to create these? What was the spark that made you realize that these were a great way to protect customers?
So I'm sitting around in my restaurant. I've got a restaurant here in my head office, and I'm looking around and I'm thinking of the customer's experience. I'm always always put myself in the customer's position. And I thought, why don't we do some sort of perspex dividers where we can give the customer a little bit more privacy and just give them that little bit of a safer environment where they don't have to sort of have the person next to them breathing on them. And that's how it all sort of come to life, I guess.
Yeah. And you were also saying in the video about it's not about whether you're vaccinated or not. I mean, with these things, you can tell if somebody's sick because they've got a temperature of some sort when they're walking through, and then because they've got the these really big partitions, you're a lot more protected than otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. So not to confuse things. So we've got the division, we've got the dividers, which are called guest guards, and that's what we place between each table. And they're quite very simple. It's an aluminium frame with a perspex in it, and we can make it customized to any size. And the guest check, I guess, which is a thermal temperature, machine. And what that does is it registers you walking in from about 5 meters. So it really points at the center of your forehead. And again, it's a good gauge to see whether somebody's got a temperature or not. So again, that's it's not 100% obviously COVID. It's not telling you whether somebody's got COVID, but it's a good step. It's a step in the right direction to know whether somebody's ill or not. So yeah, there you go.
And so I guess one of the other things people will want to know is what are the prices that these things will start at and go to?
Yeah, so we're doing it in different. Look, I'm happy to reach out and help the industry. That's what it's all about. This is not my business. I did it for my business, and I'm happy to pass it on to any other business. The guest check, which is the temperature, the thermal temperature gauge, they're going to cost between $6,000 and $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also got a rental thing where we can do it. We're so confident in the product that if people want to just rent it for a week or a month, we're also going to do rentals for them. And like what I said, rentals, we still haven't, could work out to whatever, $50, $60 a week.
Right. Wow. That's pretty affordable. So where are the products made and where are the components from?
So the parts come in from Asia,
mm-hmm.
and they're assembled here in Australia in our warehousing.
Sure. And so what kind of demand have you already had from businesses around Australia? I know that you were on Sky News the other day. I think you've done a bunch of other media. And so what has the reaction also been from your customers and employees?
Yes, so look, this is the second lockdown that we go into in New South Wales. So we rolled it out back 15 months ago after the first lockdown. And the customers loved them because, again, it just gave them that bit of assurance. It made them feel they were dining in their own space. And again, perception is everything, right? And the fact that we're just able to take extra measures to look after our customers and our staff, I think, was appreciated by the guests.
And so, what sort of demand or interest has there been already from businesses contacting you to say, "Hey, I want to get one of these for my restaurants," or businesses, or dentists, or hairdressers, or whatever the business might be?
Well, Matt, I brought in a couple of containers initially, and they completely sold out. So and we thought COVID was gone, so I just bought in the second batch. We're finding a lot of hairdressers that are interested, a lot of clubs and pubs. There's plenty of interest. It's just a matter of getting out the product out, I guess.
Yeah, well, getting the word out there, and that you're doing that ably. And also, you mentioned the $6,000 or $7,000 cost for the actual, guest check, where people can walk through, like the airport checking you for metallic objects, except in this case it's the temperature. But what are the sort of prices for the guest guards, which are the perspex dividers in different sizes, just roughly?
Mate, they're a couple of $100. They're nothing expensive. We built them in a very cheap way, where, like I said, they're modular. So the cost is very, very cheap. And again, it's a small price. It's a small price to pay for customer safety.
Yeah. Well, you want people to be able to afford it, to be able to easily move them, easily sanitize them, and hopefully one day easily get rid of them. But that probably will be quite some time yet. Yeah.
And I think I should go on the record here, Alex. This is not a business. This is not a business that I'm trying to create here. This is just something that I've done for my franchisees, for the people around me in the hospitality industry, and I'm happy to reach out. And if anyone needs a hand, this is not so much a business opportunity as much as it is me helping the business industry, the hospitality industry, getting back on its feet.
Okay, so what happens in real life when the alarm goes off because someone has a temperature, and what sanitization protocol is in place when that happens?
All right, so when the alarm goes off, it will also take a scan picture of that person. So in case for clubs or pubs that are busy, it doesn't need to be manned. So you can actually see the picture. You can go back and spot who that person is and be able to, tell them to isolate or whatever the case might be. So there's that part of it. And sorry, the second part of your question was?
Well, what are the sanitization protocols? Does somebody come in with some Glen 20 and start spraying it or wiping the things down? And what else happens to the customer when the alarm goes off?
So as a customer, if the alarm does go off, well, I guess we notify the customer that the temperature is too high, and maybe they shouldn't come into the restaurant or they shouldn't come into the facility, and you ask them to, I guess, come back another day.
Yeah. And also, what are you doing to promote Guest Guard and your products and services to businesses across Australia, even though this isn't a business? And I don't know, presumably you'd like to market this also to the world, even though, more as a service to other businesses to get businesses going again, rather than, as you said, some sort of a business to make profit.
Mate, honestly, people are reaching out to us. I've done nothing. There's no marketing campaign behind it. Like what I said, it's very secondary, but it's something so reliable and so easy to roll out. There's not much to it. It's just a plug-in. So the guest check would register the temperature, the thermal. It's just a matter of sticking it in the PowerPoint, and away you go. And the guest guards, they're very lightweight. You just assemble them. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes to assemble and just place between every table. So there's really nothing to it. It's a very, very simple system.
Sure. Well, if it's good enough for Australia's parliamentarians, it's good enough for the public, right?
Absolutely. And this is more designed for retail. If you watch the Parliament ones, they sort of make to sit on desks and they take up a lot of room. You'll find this one a lot slimmer. And the way the feet have been designed, it's designed from a restaurateur's point of view. It's designed not to interfere with the customer's experience. That's why it's a key perspex. It's designed to still make you feel like to enjoy the environment that you're in. And any safety measures that we can introduce in the hospitality industry at the moment to encourage people to come out. We're going to hit times where people are possibly with the vaccinated, unvaccinated passports. People are going to be sort of dividing. That's dividing people. Where I'm trying to come up with ideas where we could unite people. The last thing you want to do is be inviting, we've got Christmas parties coming up. You want to be inviting your family or friends out for an occasion. You don't want to be asking people whether they're vaccinated or not. It's something private, something personal. So hopefully the measures that I've taken can eliminate that sort of embarrassment or that embarrassing moment of asking somebody whether they're vaccinated or not.
Well, it can bring some confidence back into being able to go out and resume life, closer to the one that we knew.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as we get towards the end of the interview, I mean, there's still a few questions, but the first one I'd like to start
No,
with is got nothing to do with hospitality or the restaurant business, but it's simply to ask you, what is your memory of your first computer?
my first memory of a computer, actually, the first memories, Commodore 64. Can we count that as a computer?
Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely, absolutely. That was, yeah. I mean, I personally, my father had bought me a computer 5 years before then, called the Exidy Sorcerer in 1979. So the Commodore 64 came out in 1984.
Wow.
But the Commodore 64 was way advanced compared to the one that I got. The Commodore 64 could do color graphics and it had all these amazing games. I had amazing games too, but no, yeah, the Commodore 64 was many people's first computer, and it was, well, you clearly you must have had a lot of fun with it.
Mate, it wasn't mine. A neighbour had it, and the fact that I could just see it on the fact that I saw it from side on in his bedroom, I was just, yeah, I was quite taken back. That was there wasn't many computers around, but that's my first memory that my neighbour had a Commodore
Did
64.
you go over there and play games with him on the computer?
Mate, I remember watching him play games. I wasn't really much of a games person. I was more of an outdoor person. I'm a little bit more. Give me a cricket bat, give me a ball, give me a footy, as opposed to sitting in front of the computer.
So, what was the first computer you bought for your kids?
First computer I bought for my kids. Oh my god! You know what? Like actually probably the iPad. Being in Hawaii, I bought the iPad for the kids, and I got into sort of that. That's I guess that was my kickoff.
Sure, sure. Oh well, the kids would have you would have been dad of the year.
That of the year, mate. Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh boy. So look, the next question I like to ask is, what is a little bit about your own history in the world of entrepreneurialism and business?
All right. So when it comes to IT, I guess you want to know a little bit more about IT. Even so, I actually brought over a POS system into Australia back in 2006. So, which is
15 years
called,
ago.
yeah, which is called PointSoft. So I became the exclusive distributor of PointSoft in Australia, which was something that did inventory very well. It did obviously a transaction, the point of sale system. It was quite a unique system at that time in 2006. The fact that he had a lot of gadgets to it, and it was focused specifically on the hospitality industry. So that's my first, I feel like, dab at the IT business.
Sure, sure. And that was also 3 or even 4 years before the iPad. So it would have had a screen, right, that you could touch and tap.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely,
So yeah.
yeah. And it
And
had little you could take the order via an iPad or over a pad if you like, and the
yeah,
order will go direct to the kitchen. So it was quite advanced for its time, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. So how do you see the hospitality and the restaurant industry evolving over the next couple of years, and how do you think it might have evolved by 2030?
And I tell you what, the game is moving very, very quick, right? Things are changing very, very fast, and technology is probably changing our business in so many ways. We've got QR codes now where people can, put the order in themselves. Yeah, who knows where things are going? I think the game is getting very. I think it's about speed now. The market is so much about speed, and not just speed to market, as in, what you're going to introduce, but the customer wants things instantly. So I think it's all going to be about, quicker dining times, just those sort of things.
I mean, we even have seen, of course, all of the Uber Eats and Menu Log and all of those delivery services that have revolutionized how people order. I mean, we had the Cuisine Courier for years before, but you had to dial up on the phone, and I remember I used to use those every now and then. But now, of course, it's just this. I mean, do you have a delivery service, or do you have your own delivery drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. So, mate, as a result of COVID-19 coming into place, we realised we were 100% dining business. So we had to pivot very quickly, and we had to change. We had to become a delivery and takeaway business. So we created our own. At the time, on our website, you couldn't order. So we had to create an e-commerce business. We had to create an online a phone line system where people can order. So it definitely, IT has definitely changed the way business works, and the way hospitality works. And like what you're saying, to your point, people want to eat at home now a little bit more, and the third party delivery, I guess, companies or partners now, they've sort of changed the landscape of how people dine. Now you're ordering food, people are ordering food to sit around their family table and enjoy a restaurant quality meal, sometimes at home.
Mm. And do you use any of those third-party services, or are you doing it all through your own service?
So we use all parties. You got it at this time. You got it. We use all third parties. Even so, the prices are ridiculous. You're paying 30% plus. But we fortunately also have our own platform, and we do 40% of our delivery and takeaway through our own platform, and we're looking at growing that because, like what I said, the cost is very expensive, and I think you'll find that more restaurant chains will create their own delivery platform in the very near future.
Yeah. So look, my second last question is simply to ask you, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received in life to help you get where you are today?
Oh my God. The best bit of advice is my dad saying, Rami, start a business before you buy a house. So that's what I was looking for. I was always looking for starting a business before buying a house. So I'd encourage all youngsters, I know it's an Australian dream to own your first house. I would say let's change the Australian dream to starting our own business before we buy a home. And to add on what my dad said, a business will buy you a home won't necessarily buy you a business. So that's probably been the ching, the moment that made me realise that I want to start my own business.
And so what is your final message to ITWire viewers and readers and to your consumer and business customers and partners?
Look, I think IT is a huge part, I guess, of focusing on IT. IT is a core part of the business now, whether you're looking at inventory, whether you're controlling your costs. We all know in the hospitality industry, there's two major costs, which is your labor and your food costs. They're the sort of things that we should be introducing into our business and making sure that we're getting real-time data. That's very, very important. So whatever IT system you go with, you should be partnering with people who are going to give you real-time data. That's so important so we can manage our business a little bit more. I like what I said, so we could have our hand on the pulse, and that's going to help you control your costs. And the second part of the question, sorry, you want me to?
Your any message you want to give to your customers and business partners who might be watching this?
Yeah, to customers and business partners, I wish you all the best when changing times, when difficult times. Our industry has copped it very, very hard, as we all know. And I believe in one thing: after hardship, always comes ease. So I think chin up, and I know we're going to turn a corner, and there's great to come out of this. And the fact that we've got to remain optimistic and positive. Hospitality and IT will never go anywhere. So we're in a safe space.
Thank you very much for your time, Rami Ykmour, self-made millionaire, entrepreneur and businessman. Thank you for bringing the COVID-safe products to market and getting them out there, and for bringing confidence back into hospitality and to everyday life. I really appreciate it, and I hope we can talk again in the future.
Alex, I've really enjoyed my time. Thank you so much, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, mate.